Hello folks, I am Dion, your host. You are now on blast. If I'm on blast, then you're on blast too. Alright, I found another crazy story, survival story. Alright, hopefully my camera guy won't make any sudden moves. But once again, this right here, this story is about basically paying attention. You know? Pay a freaking attention to what you're doing when you're out there in them damn woods. Okay? Don't be in La La Land. But you're focusing on innocent prey. This is what happens. This one is titled The Wrong Turn. Okay? And boy, is it the wrong turn, baby. I would say it's the wrong turn. So bear with me. I got to get my screen fixed. It's cracked. Okay, so on August 31st, Bill Lawrence, 40, got separated from his hunting partners. And he remained lost for 5 days. Okay. Wednesday, I just killed my first squirrel. When I glanced over for my friends Russell and Chris, they were gone. Russell was the only one who hunted these woods. Me man Shelby Forest, north of Memphis. We've been hunting for 20 minutes. And we're deep in the forest. Russell and Chris stuck together while I drifted to their left. I tried to stay within eyesight of them, but I was also watching for snakes. The last time I saw them, it looked like they were continuing to go straight. Then I stopped to shoot a squirrel. A squirrel, dude? A squirrel. When I read this story, I was like, this is why you're not supposed to be out there effing with the animals. Keep your ass in the city. Leave the squirrels alone. Because this is the kind of shit that can happen to your punk ass. He goes, I thought I had an idea where they were. But an hour later, I wasn't any closer. I shouted, but the thick woods only swallowed my cries. So I turned to hike back to the truck. But an hour later, I was even more lost. I kept walking through figuring I'd find my way out. Yeah. I walked, stopping to rest now and then until it started to get dark. I fired a couple of shots, but got no response. I never got cold, which was good, because I had nothing to build a fire. I doused myself with bug dope, then I laid down with my vest. I was also able to cover my face and roll up the bottom end as a pillow. That dead squirrel that was in my pocket made for a decent pillow. Isn't that gross? He had to sleep and smell a dead squirrel all night. He said he heard a helicopter, but he couldn't seem to see through the trees. It was going to run through the wood. He was going to run through the woods, but he didn't want to do that in the dark. So he said, they'll find me tomorrow. No, really? Just took for granted they'll find him tomorrow. So Thursday, he says, I finished the last 2 water bottles that I brought with me that morning. The days were hot. I was sweating a lot. I needed to stay hydrated. Fortunately, it rained the next morning, and I managed to catch a half a bottle's worth of water. I mostly squirrel hunt, but I had enough experience hunting deer and rabbits that I could identify tracks. Okay? I know that if you follow those tracks, they often lead to water source, which in my case was a puddle of gumbo mud. Poor thing. So much for your experience. Okay? So much for your experience, but that's for you messing with innocent squirrels, you punk ass. Seriously? You shoot squirrels? I dipped my empty bottle and watched it fill with gray, grimy water. I didn't want to drink it. I worried it would make me sick. No shit. But what choice did I have? I was already getting dehydrated. The taste was nasty, dirty, and sandy. But the dip of mint skulls I had in my mouth made it at least drinkable. I figured I should eat something to even though I was starving. I turned over a dead stump and found some night crawlers. Those are those worms. They tasted about as bad as the gumbo water. I don't know how many I ate, only that I'd never eat another one. The rest of Thursday was a lot like Wednesday. Walk, then break for a nap, walk, then nap. That second day as I was walking, with no real end in sight, is when I started talking to God. Huh? Why is this happening? If I don't make it out, will you take care of my wife and kids? That night I woke to a whoosh, 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 whoosh. Dazed. It took me a moment to realize that it was another chopper. And that it was right above me. I stumbled to find a flashlight in my vest, but by the time I turned it on, it was too late. After the chopper left, my flashlight burned out. Like my bangs. Y'all like my outfit? Yes, yes. Put it together real quick. Never mind. Never mind. Friday, I kept moving and praying all day. Walking gave me purpose. Praying gave me strength. I truly believed my faith is what kept me from ever panicking. Alright? That afternoon, I stumbled upon some persimmons. They were most delicious. They were the most delicious things I've ever eaten in a long time. And they were just sitting there on the ground, perfectly ripe. Or persimmons, I think I said it right. Waiting to be found. Saturday I heard low flying chopper. That morning I took the t-shirt I had on under my camo shirt, tied it to the barrel of my Mossberg, and rushed to the nearest open area where I waved it around, but it never got close enough. I was weak and tired. My body ached. For the first time, I started to think I might not get out. I started with 15 shells, and by the time I only have 4 to 5 left. I've been firing them and leaving the shells at spots where I rested. But on Saturday, I decided to fire the rest. I had one choice. I didn't know how much of this misery I could suffer. And I didn't want the options of taking my own life. Damn, that wouldn't even have been a thought, if you ask me. Later that afternoon, as I was resting, see, he's already crazy. You out there shooting squirrel? You one of them psychos. Later that afternoon, as I was resting, I heard two sounds of a Harley Davidson and a chainsaw. I decided to stay put for the remainder of the day and save my energy. Tomorrow, I'd travel towards those sounds. I just knew that if I didn't get out on Sunday, I never would. Sunday, I came to the hill that I wasn't sure I had the strength to climb. Saturday, I sat down on a nearby log and prayed for strength. When I finally got up and walked to the hill, I glanced to the left where I saw a trail and took it. 2 miles later, I hit a blacktop road. I fell to the ground crying. I flagged down a couple of motorcyclists who came down the road and told me, and I told them who I was. And they said, son, one of them said, there's a lot of people looking for you. Ooh-wee, I know that felt good. Just like it feels good to be done with this damn story. Trying to read on a cracked glass. Gee whiz, I got oh shit. I'm gonna have to get it fixed. Especially if I'm gonna do this type of shit. Okay, y'all. I remember I take them off to be cute. I put them back on to read. Okay, they drove me to the camp. Search team had set up nearby. Just as they got me on the stretcher and we're about to drive me to the hospital, I was given a satellite phone. Kim, my wife, was on the other line. My eyes welled. Hey, I said, I'm alive. I got through that shit. Ooh-wee now. Okay, the survival analyst. Okay. Bill Lawrence had no method of striking fire, carried nothing to signal with him but a shotgun, and possessed no tools to navigate to safety but his brain. Huh? When he became lost, he had nothing to eat but night crawlers and no means to disinfect the water. He was unfamiliar with the country and carried no map. To sum it up, he stuck into the woods about as unprepared as a man could be before... Wait, hold on. To sum up... Okay, he struck into the woods about as unprepared as a man could be. But before you criticize him too harshly, take a look at yourself. Have you ever been similarly unprepared for an emergency, using the excuse that you only plan to be gone for a few hours and won't stray more than a few hundred yards from the road? I know I have. Lawrence's ordeal should be a cautionary tale for all of us, emphasizing the importance of carrying basic survival gear every time we go afield, no matter how small the field we intend to hunt. A compass, a whistle, a sparkling wheel, tinder tabs, and chlorine tablets weigh about as much as a tin of Altoids, and easily fit inside one. Okay, shit happens. Have a hat for it. Lawrence's reaction to being lost was to walk and then walk some more. By doing so, he disobeyed 4 steps that almost ensure survival. Stop, shelter, signal, stay. Had he stopped walking, tied his undershirt to a treetop, or placed it in an opening where it could be seen, or better yet, spelled SOS in the clearing with branches or stones, then hunkered out of the winds to wait, he probably would have been found quickly after being reported missing. 90% of search rescues operations are resolved during the initial hasty search, usually within 10 hours. one thing that Lawrence did do right needs to be emphasized. He never panicked, and he was determined to survive. Okay, the right attitude is one positive that can make up for a lot of negatives in any survival situations. Okay? So yeah, don't panic, keep your cool, eat your worms and your mud water. But, you know, even while we're driving in our cars, an earthquake can happen. Do any of you guys have water, granola, peanuts, anything to eat in the car? Does anyone have survival shit in the car, man? No, you don't. So think about it. I'm just saying, think about it. Do you have things? Do you have a cooler with survival food? Think about it. First aid, in case you get cut. A snorkeling kit? No. Alright. Please like and subscribe to my channel. My story reading will get better. It'll get better. But at the same time, you know, I'm just bringing you shit. Survival stories. So like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you too can be alerted to way out survival stories such as this one. The analysis at the end. And a nice yummy recipe. Peace and hair grease. I am out.